Coming up, a former president of the United States, now a convicted felon.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. 7 men and 5 women on the jury in the Manhattan criminal trial of Donald Trump deliberated less than 12 hours over 2 days before they found the former president guilty on 34 felony counts. Trump stood accused of falsifying records during his presidential run in 2016 to cover up an alleged sexual encounter with Stormy Daniels. CBS's Michael George begins our coverage from the courthouse.
Moments after his historic conviction, former President Donald Trump denounced the verdict, finding him guilty of all 34 counts in connection with a hush money payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels.
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. But the real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here. We didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man.
The only voice that matters is the voice of the jury, and the jury has spoken.
People gathered here outside the Manhattan criminal courthouse expressed their opinions about this history-making verdict.
And just to see that, a president can be found guilty, a president can be held accountable, I think is an incredible show of democracy.
This is political prosecution, and there's absolutely nothing behind this case. And I hope they appeal it.
During the trial, Trump's former lawyer and fixer, Michael Cohen, helped prosecutors draw a link between Trump and charges he falsified business records to disguise reimbursements for a $130,000 payment. Prosecutors argued that was to buy Daniels silence about an alleged 2006 sexual encounter with Trump. Trump denies the encounter ever took place. In closing arguments, Trump's lead attorney called Cohen the MVP of liars.
They knew that they didn't always have perfect evidence, but every moment they tried to say, we're backing it up. You don't just have to believe Michael Cohen. Look at what everybody else is telling you as well.
The judge set Trump's sentencing for July 11th, 4 days before the Republican National Convention. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Former President Trump faces up to 4 years in prison, but could be given probation with no prison time as well. It's believed that Trump cannot legally pardon himself if he is elected president in November. The unprecedented guilty verdict on the felony charges leaves many voters wondering what this means for the upcoming presidential election. We spoke to a political science expert about what we could possibly see in the coming days and months. Grayson Passmore continues our coverage.
It's the guilty verdict heard round the country.
In modern times, no president or former president has faced such prosecution, let alone been convicted of it.
Political science expert Dr. Stephen Voss says we have no clue what the political impact of former President Donald Trump's conviction will be, because it's never happened before.
Trump is essentially right that in terms of the court of public opinion, this battle is not over yet. He lost a court hearing, but the battle in the public is going to be whether the prosecution against Trump was politicized, was political, or whether it was a legitimate sort of legal action.
While the conviction is unprecedented for a politician at this level, Dr. Voss says there may be at least one advantage Trump has in trying to rebound from the news.
We know supporters of a politician, at a lower level at least, have been fairly forgiving, have been willing to either overlook or even excuse the troubles in which they found them.
As we wait to see how this will play out on the national stage, those downtown Lexington had thoughts of their own.
I really wasn't completely shocked because the verdict came out so fast. And typically when the verdict comes fast, it's derogatory, or, meaning they've been found guilty.
The consensus from many people, like Jer Sullivan, is wondering what happens next.
I understand the legality of some things, but I'm not sure if they can overturn this or not.
In Lexington, Grayson Passmore, WKYT.
Well, lots of reaction, as you can imagine, coming in tonight. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul called it a sad day for America. Congressman Hal Rogers said, quote, President Trump's trial was an outrage and deeply unfair. It was a political travesty and will be reversed on appeal. It is a weaponization of the courts for political gain. Biden forces claim victory, but it will backfire and elect Trump. They claim they won this battle, but we will win the war.
Temperatures today were in the 70s across eastern Kentucky, below normal for this time of year. Numbers for today made it to 73 in Hazard, 74 in Jackson, 78 is where we should be for this time of year. Pretty close to normal towards the Jonesville and Harlan area. Made it to 77. Middlesboro 78. London checking in with a high of 76. Pikeville only going to 71. Pikeville right now is at 55. 55 in Prestonburg as well as Hazard. Manchester, good evening. You're at 58 degrees. 61 in London. That's one of the warm spots. 62 in Jackson. Here's a look at the satellite and radar. The cloud cover, it's out of here, folks. We're left with mainly clear skies throughout the evening and overnight hours. Next 12 hours has temperatures dropping into the upper 40s as we go into the 6 o'clock time frame. By 10 a.m., 63 degrees will be the temperature. By noon, we'll go back into the 70s. Now, coming up in the first alert forecast, we have rain chances in the forecast yet again. We'll time that out in a few minutes. Steve, over to you.
All right, Eric, thank you. Folks in Knox County are continuing to clean up after a tornado on Sunday afternoon damaged parts of East Corbin. Meteorologists with the National Weather Service said the quick spin-up started near the Legacy Chevrolet dealership and caused damage to a gas station and car wash. Legacy manager Bobby Kidd says they were able to look at security cameras to see how the storm moved through the area.
Yeah, we did watch some of the video, and it was weird. It just all of a sudden it was nothing, and then it got really windy. Came through, blew in some of our parts doors, just off the side, just completely blew them in. Came through the lot, damaged probably about 30 cars on our lot, 10 or 15 of them pretty bad.
The tornado was confirmed on property off Poplar Grove Road near Lingcamp High School. A Dairy Queen employee is being treated for serious injuries after police say she was attacked by a co-worker. It happened at the Dairy Queen location in Stanford. Police say the employee was stabbed multiple times. She was flown to a hospital. Police say a second employee tried to stop the attack, but she was also injured. Police say 20-year-old Rachel Sanchez, another employee of the Dairy Queen, is in custody. She's charged with attempted murder and first-degree assault. The Red River Gorge is one of Kentucky's most popular nature areas, and soon you may have to pay if you want to pay a visit. The Daniel Boone National Forest is considering a new fee proposed for 19 sites in the gorge. Jeremy Tom shares the Forest Service reasons and hikers' thoughts on that proposal.
It's an area that people will drive from hours away in any direction to come see.
Oh, it was just beautiful and wild, gorgeous.
A hike in the Red River Gorge often evokes those adjectives of amazement. It's the reason Eric Dodd with the Daniel Boone National Forest says they're seeing a dramatic increase in visitation.
On average, you probably see about 500,000 visitors. We need to keep up with visitor demand and visitor experience.
As the gorge gets busier, they're looking into how they can better manage the area.
We're kind of at this point where we have to designate campsites, adopt some of the user-created trails and redesign them.
Dodd says to do so, they need more funding. So they're proposing new fees at popular recreation areas like Gray's Arch Trailhead and raising prices for backcountry camping.
Dodd says the funds will also support the Forest Service as they maintain these sites and bring improvements to aging facilities. But what do the gorge's visitors think of the change?
I feel like most parks that I visit, you tend to pay a fee. If it's as small as you say, $5 doesn't seem unreasonable to me.
I'm not real positive on that because I think something that's beautiful should be free. That was one of the things I enjoyed about it. Just showed up and enjoy it.
Opinions are split, and Dodd says the Forest Service knows it will have to strike a delicate balance.
If it's not done properly, it could reduce that feeling of solitude and just freedom.
So that's why they want to hear your voices before any decision becomes final.
With public input, we do it properly, it will help the resource, but also preserve that recreational experience.
In the Red River Gorge, Jeremy Toms, WKYT.
3 more sites are also being considered for fee changes in the Forest's London district. The Powell County Lions Club will host the Forest Service for a public meeting on June 11th. Public comments and feedback will be accepted through July 31st. Governor Andy Beshear says the Commonwealth has seen its second straight year of record-breaking growth in the tourism industry. A tourism economic study found 79 million travelers visited Kentucky in 2023, up 4.5% from 2022. More than $2 billion was spent on food and drinks, along with lodging, and another nearly $2 billion in transportation and retail. In all, nearly $14 billion was generated in economic impact and more than 95,000 jobs. U.S. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell joined Governor Beshear in Frankfort today to visit the Kentucky National Guard. McConnell discussed a new batch of funding that will go towards military technology in the Bluegrass. Both of them worked together for the funding, and McConnell spoke on why it's important during current global conflicts.
From high-quality munitions at Bluegrass Army Depot to cutting-edge submarine technology in Louisville, our legislation also provides, of course, critical security assistance for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan.
Serve our communities effectively.
Both the governor and Senator McConnell were joined by Kentucky's Adjutant Major General Hal Lamberton at today's news conference. Students throughout the region have been taking their final steps across the high school stages, stepping into the future with support from different scholarships. Colleges, universities, trade schools, and other institutions have been awarding scholarships to students all month, helping to offset the costs of college and career plans. Educators say the opportunities and options for students are more diverse than ever, and the support of community partners helps more students succeed.
We gave out thousands and thousands of dollars today to students to better prepare them for the future. And I only see it increasing and growing because of our community and our culture and our environment.
Prestonsburg High School Principal Ricky Thacker says he is excited to see how his students use their scholarships to fund their futures. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, how a mission trip to Guatemala affected some Eastern Kentucky college students.
And we're seeing temperatures in the 50s right now. We'll see highs near normal for tomorrow. There are rain chances in the forecast. We'll talk about that in the First Alert forecast coming up in a few minutes. Stay with us.